World leaders are absolutely furious at Donald Trump and his despicable regime, and they are refusing to lend any support, any resources, any of their land to Donald Trump's threat to attack Iran. Even Donald Trump's top general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Raisin Cain, is telling Donald Trump, if we don't have support from any allies other than Israel, we can't do just a limited strike on Iran to topple the regime. We have no support, Donald. And Donald Trump is growing increasingly frustrated at General Cain and his top aides, who are saying it will be a disaster if we invade Iran without any support of our allies. And while Donald Trump continues to attack the rest of the world, as he's now imposing unlawfully another tariff regime, 15% tariffs on the rest of the world, Prime Minister Carney is brilliantly checkmating and outmaneuvering Donald Trump, joining together trans-Pacific partnerships with transatlantic partnerships. And Prime Minister Carney of Canada is taking a whirlwind trip yet again this week. He's going to be in India, Australia, and Japan. This is after he visited Europe, of course, where he's going to work to forge new partnerships to unlock new opportunities for Canadian workers and businesses across trade, energy, technology, and defense. So as Donald Trump is attacking allies, or I should say former allies, across the rest of the world, Canada is serving as the link, as the bridge between the Pacific and the Atlantic, bringing everybody together. Carney is doing this brilliantly. Here's how the BBC is reporting it. Carney heading on a trade trip as Canada seeks to reduce its U.S. reliance. Prime Minister Mark Carney is traveling to India, Australia, and Japan this week in his latest effort to cultivate trade ties as he seeks to wean Canada off its economic dependency on the United States. Carney will begin the trip in India on Thursday. His office said he's going to be meeting with Prime Minister Modi. He will then travel to Australia to meet Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and address Australia's parliament, the first such speech by a Canadian Prime Minister in nearly 20 years. The trip will end in Tokyo, where Carney will meet with Japanese Prime Minister Takaishi. It is the latest in a string of global trips by Carney in recent months amid trade tensions between Canada and the United States. By trade tensions, do you mean the United States threatening the sovereignty of Canada and continuing to attack the people of Canada and say the 51st state? Is that what you mean by trade tensions? It also marks a significant shift in Canadian-India ties, which deteriorated previously. It goes on to say that Prime Minister Carney is talking about how in a more uncertain world, Canada is focused on what we can control. We are diversifying our trade and attracting massive new investments to create new opportunities for our workers. And he says, we are going Canada strong. Also, you have Prime Minister Carney, right? Liberal Party leader, Prime Minister of Canada. But then you have Doug Ford. He's the Conservative Premier of Ontario. And here's what he has to say about Donald Trump's tariffs killing the economy. Here's what he said yesterday. Play this clip.
And there's going to be the midterms. I've never seen so many Canadians all cheering on the Democrats. And I think there's 33 Senate seats up for grabs. 20 of them are Republican. But we saw what happened in Congress. We saw what happened in the Supreme Court. The walls are closing in, I believe, on President Trump right now, and he's feeling the pressure. So a lot of these jobs are border states that are being affected, and he needs those seats. So if it continues on, people are going to be unemployed, and which will affect the midterms.
More from Premier Ford yesterday as well. Play this clip.
Well, I always say, no deal is better than a bad deal. But I think it's in the best interest of the American people. You're seeing inflation down there because prices are going up just because of these tariffs. And I've always said a tariff on Canada is a tax on the U.S. And I'm going to be spreading that message. Make no mistake about it. My media here is number one, but I have to get that message. I'll be going on with Wolf Blitzer on CNN. I think within the next hour, getting that message out there through CNN and other media outlets. People are listening. Down in the U.S., people are feeling the crunch. They don't see the prices going down with food and other goods. And that all has to come down to, the uncertainty that he's put around the world, but he's put against his number one customer in the world. I always remind them that 9 million Americans wake up every single day to build a product, a widget, or a service for Ontario alone. And they're going to feel the crunch.
So Canada's pretty united. Everybody from NDP, more far left, to Liberal Party, more center left, to Conservative Party, Doug Ford at the provincial level and others. I mean, pretty united. I mean, look, you got Pierre Poilievre, Maple MAGA, but that shtick isn't really working all that well. But other than that, you have a united Canada. Of course, Alberta too. Danielle Smith is, Maple MAGA. But other than that, you have pretty much, significant unity. Now, as I talked about at the beginning of this video, the Pentagon, through the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Kane, they are raising major red flags about Donald Trump's desire to attack Iran. The Pentagon's top general has cautioned Trump from attacking Iran, saying that there are shortfalls in critical munitions. Lack of support from allies will create significant risk to the operation and to U.S. personnel. And as Carl Quintanilla says, a lack of support from allies doing some heavy lifting there. A sustained campaign against Iran would likely be among the most complex and dangerous military operations launched by Trump, with the potential to pull the U.S. into a broader war in the Middle East. And Donald Trump is growing frustrated. All reports are that Donald Trump has grown increasingly frustrated with what aides describe as the limits of military leverage against Iran, with military planners telling Donald Trump that any strike on Tehran's assets would almost certainly not be singular, decisive, and just like a simple operation. Instead, limited strikes could open the door to a wider confrontation, one that risks drawing the United States into a protracted conflict in the Middle East, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter who spoke to CBS News. And Donald Trump and his administration continue to talk about this strike, but Kane's been advising Donald Trump, you know what? There are massive, massive risks right here. As Tyler Rogaway points out, if this Iran thing really pops off, our stockpile of critical interceptors, which takes years and huge sums of money to build, will be really depleted here. Also, more Donald Trump embarrassing himself as well. You know what? Donald Trump and Landry, the governor of Louisiana, said they're sending hospital ships over to Greenland at the same time a United States nuclear submarine surfaced because someone on that submarine got really sick, and that nuclear submarine was there at the same time the King of Denmark was visiting Greenland, and then Greenland saved the life of the American soldier on the nuclear submarine. Then Donald Trump started posting images along with Jeff Landry of sending hospital ships in order to save the people of Greenland, and the people of Greenland are like, we don't need saving, we have universal health care, unlike Louisiana in the United States that rips health care away from the people. Remember all of that? Well, the Pentagon has received no orders to deploy any medical vessels or other ships with the U.S. Navy to Greenland, despite Donald Trump's claim that hospital ships are on its way. U.S. officials are telling the Wall Street Journal no orders at all have come from Donald Trump or anybody else to send Navy ships or any ships at all. The U.S. Navy's two hospital ships, the Norfolk-based USNS Comfort and the San Diego-based USNS Mercy, which are designed as floating medical treatment facilities, are both currently in the yards in Mobile, Alabama. The Comfort's undergoing repairs that are expected to be completed in April, while the Mercy is in the middle of a one-year maintenance period that began last July. And now spokespeople from the Navy and the Pentagon are referring questions regarding the post to White House, while the White House spokesman and spokeswoman are referring Trump's post and just saying whatever he says on Truth Social, just look at Truth Social. That's where you can find out what Donald Trump actually means. So he's doing Truth Social posts, but then when he posts photographs of former President Obama and Michelle Obama with their faces photoshopped onto apes, he didn't post those, but when he posts these, then he posts them. I mean, this is a total, you know what? I mean, what an utter disaster this regime is. Donald Trump then posted the following. Numerous stories from the fake news media have been circulating that General Daniel Kane, sometimes referred to as Raisin, is against us going to war with Iran. The story does not attribute this vast wealth of knowledge to anyone and is 100% incorrect. General Kane, like all of us, would like to see war, would like to not see war. But if a decision is made on going against Iran at a military level, it is his opinion that it will be something easily won. He knows Iran well, and that he was in charge of Midnight Hammer, the attack on Iranian nuclear development. Pause right there. Didn't you say that you obliterated all the nuclear facilities? Oh, you made that up. That was yet another lie. Donald Trump goes on to say, It is a development no longer, but rather was blown to smithereens by our great B-2 bombers. Pause. If it was blown to smithereens and everything was obliterated and Iran doesn't have a nuclear arsenal, what are we even negotiating? Oh, wait. Donald Trump lies about absolutely everything. It goes on to say that Raisin Cane's a great fighter and represents the most powerful military anywhere in the world. He has not spoken of not doing Iran or even the fake limited strikes that I have been reading about. He only knows one thing, how to win, and if he's told to do so, he will be leading the pack. Everything that has been written about potential war with Iran has been written incorrectly and purposefully so. I am the one that makes decisions. I would rather have a deal than not, but if we don't make a deal, it will be a very bad day for that country. And very sadly, its people, because they are great and wonderful, and something like this should never have happened to them. Okay, so now you claim you care about the people of Iran? Well, what happened when you told the people go out and protest? America's got your back. If the Ayatollah kills a single protester, then the Ayatollah massacred 30,000 protesters, and then you brag that you got the Ayatollah to stop 800 people who were going to be hanged, and you said that you deserve credit for that. I mean, you deserve credit for that? You absolutely don't. You told people to go out there and protest. You got 30,000 people killed. The blood is on your hands. Donald, also in other international news as well, you have, and I reported on this earlier too, the French in France, they've banned the United States ambassador to France. That's Charles Kushner, Jared Kushner's father, who was a felon, pardoned by Donald Trump. He pled guilty to multiple felony counts of tax evasion. Actually, it was Chris Christie when he was a United States attorney for New Jersey. And, he then became the governor. And then, he's always been despised by the Kushners. He was the guy who prosecuted Kushner's dad. Kushner's dad pled guilty. Multiple felony counts of tax evasion and witness tampering. What was the witness tampering? It related to his brother-in-law, the brother of his wife. And Charles Kushner bought prostitutes to set up his brother-in-law to be with the prostitutes, to then extort the brother-in-law or blackmail him not to testify against Kushner at a criminal trial. And that was caught. And then there was witness tampering there. But I digress. The U.S. ambassador to France, Charles Kushner, has been banned from meeting members of the French government after not showing up at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs earlier in the day. So what happened was, in France, they summoned the U.S. ambassador to France, Charles Kushner, after he attacked French domestic policy. He said, leftist extremists in France are responsible for this murder of a far right-wing guy who got killed in France. And the French government was like, you shouldn't be interfering with our domestic politics, and you have no ability, and we're not going to allow you to in any way mention what you expect us to do. We don't take orders from you. You're the ambassador. We don't take orders. And when you get summoned, you show up because you're at the host country. Charles Kushner refused to show up. So France said, all right, see you later. You're done. No French official is allowed to talk to him. And by the way, he deserves to be expelled. But now they're iced him out, frozen him out, don't speak to him. Finally, former ambassador to the United States, who went by the name of Lord Peter Mandelson. He was the UK ambassador to the United States. He was arrested in the UK following Andrew Mountbatten being arrested as well. Former Prince Andrew, no prince no more, in connection with their relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. So some accountability in the UK, no accountability in these United States. Folks, we hit 7 million subscribers. Help us get to 8 million subscribers. No, we hit 6 million subscribers. Help us get to 7 million. Help us get to 8 million as well. We're almost there. Make sure you're watching the People's State of the Union. You'll see it's in our live feed right now. We hope you watch the People's State of the Union today. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate you. Let's get to 7 million subscribers.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.